For our background of the study, due to the COVID-19 issue in the last year 2019, as the disease continued to grow, several changes have been made to control it. Providing a quarantine center is the one of the strategy to reduce the number of the COVID-19 infections, the number of the COVID-19 patients, the level of the patient disease, and the type of the zone are all the factors to consider when deciding where to build the quarantine facility. To make the process easier, the quarantine center is chosen utilizing the set covering approach method. The set is used to establish the minimum number of the place chosen to develop quarantine facility from any of the 2022 district in place. For our problem statement, with an increasing number of the COVID-19 cases, the establishment of the quarantine center and the emergency service facility is the critical in combating the spread of the pandemic, particularly in Perlis. The main factor in determining the best locations for developing a quarantine center for COVID-19 victims is the ability to minimize the distance. When the placement of the quarantine center is simply based on the service available within a 10-kilometer radius. In this study, the set covering problem is used to estimate the ideal locations for quarantine center to be built in Perlis based on the three criteria, which is the total number of the cases, type of the disease, and the zone type of the districts. Our research questions number one is we want to know what are the factors to lead the establishment of the quarantine center for the COVID-19 victim in the Perlis. Second one is we want to know what is about the locations of the quarantine center to be built. And third is where is the best location in the Perlis to build a COVID-19 quarantine center using set covering approach. Then our research objective is to investigate the factors that lead to establishment of the quarantine center in Perlis. Second is to determine the minimum number of the quarantine center that should be constructed. And the last one is to use a set covering approach to determine the best location in Perlis for development of the quarantine center. In the set covering system for allocate the quarantine center in Perlis, because Perlis have a multi-district, which is there are 2022 nodes. From that 2020 nodes, it helps us to develop a new formulation, which is the constraint. And because our objective function is to minimize the number of the quarantine center, our objective it shows that the constraint is a feasible solution. The exit solution is to satisfy all the constraints. In this part, we start to model our own model, which is the Perlis have a 2020 nodes. So from that 2020 nodes, we state the node by list of the table, which is from Abi to Wang Bintung. The decisions variable for our case is we assume that xij is equal to 1 when center I is selected to open and 0 is otherwise. For our objective functions, because we want to minimize the number of the quarantine center that need to be built, so this is our objective function starting from the nodes 1 until nodes 2022. So from that, we want to see that which from 2022 nodes, which are the best location to build the quarantine center. As we mentioned earlier, how we show that our constraint is satisfied is from all these constraints, we see that our constraint is cover from all the 2020 nodes.